The last conversation that I had with my father before he sadly passed away was before they intubated him. He was very exhausted, he was struggling for oxygen. It's not where you want to remember your loved ones, you know.
So it's been incredibly difficult to not have her there, you know, to talk to, you know, because my mother was my best friend, you know. My mother brought me and my brothers up on her own.
Not being able to see him and be with him in his last few days is something that is keeping me up awake at night. The day he died, in the morning, he called me and I thought it was a pocket dial, because all I could hear was, and it's 1:28 of him just gasping for breath.
I do think that, you know, there should be a lot more support available. When you've been in that situation yourself, it hurts differently. It affects your day-to-day life, you know, from your mental health to, you know, your day-to-day living.
Is there something that could bring you closure?
I think for me it's just accountability is a big factor. I feel like that, you know, nobody is, you know, accepted fault. I think that's what the inquiry will give us is, you know, those answers.
The UK inquiry is due to start in spring next year. Mark Drakeford says that he's ensured that Wales-specific actions will be a big part of that UK-wide inquiry. Why doesn't that convince you?
I think it's really important to have the UK inquiry. Even though Mark Drakeford has sought assurances, he hasn't had them. That wasn't good enough for the people of Scotland and the families in Scotland, which is why their government is having a Scotland-specific inquiry. And that's what we should have here in Wales.
I wouldn't once blame the NHS, you know, they're fantastic, you know, they saved my mother's life, they provide support to my family. However, I do think that somewhere along the lines there were a lot of rational decisions made, decisions that could have been avoided.
Over the last 18 months, the numbers of people dying and talking about death has been so much that I think for some people they feel maybe desensitized to it. Can you just sum it up for people who haven't lost someone to COVID?
When my mum having cancer, I researched everything into her cancer. I was so well informed, and then to have her taken away by COVID just feels like such an injustice. I feel like she was stolen way before she was supposed to.
What makes it very sad for us is that he's gone, and there's not a day that goes by that in our office that, you know, his name's not mentioned, you know, whether it's by you know, the health board that we work with or, you know, customers that walk through the door.
I'm a realist, so I appreciate that, you know, families lose people tragically and unexpectedly every day, and we're no different. But generally, those families do, to some extent, get answers. We shouldn't have to be fighting for this. We should be grieving. Why aren't people listening to us?